Why, hello, you amazing, beautiful people. How you doing? Welcome back to another cut content reaction video. Shout out Annie News. Link to their channel in the description. Go show them all the love in the world for the awesome videos that they create, my friends. Anyway. We got another cut content video for you guys. I told you I was going to do all of them. I'm kind of struggling to do the backlog at the moment, but I'll catch the ones that are sort of coming out at the time, and then we'll sort of get through the backlog when we can. There's not that many. I think there's only 2 episodes I've sort of missed, so it should be kind of easy to do. But yeah, anyway, episode 4 dropped. There's a cut content video to it. At the time of watching this reaction, my reaction to episode 5 should already be out, so if you want to go support that, go check it out on the main channel, G.O.T Games. But yeah, please like, please subscribe, and let's jump into my first time ever reaction to ReZero Season 4, Episode 4's cut content.
I'm not gonna say Subaru is 100% Flugel, but with the way the anime hints at it and the way the novel adds even more connections, it's almost like they're not even trying to hide it. Of course, that could all just be a red herring, but from Shaula's recognition of him to similar personality traits and a whole lot more you'll soon see in this video, I'd be more surprised if it's revealed Subaru isn't Flugel.
It's for me, the Flugel stuff, it's definitely, I would say, it seems like it could be, but it doesn't seem like the only possibility. Like, it feels like Subaru could be Flugel. It also feels like there could just be some connection or relation to Flugel. It also feels like it could be something to do with the witch and her scent on Subaru. I definitely feel like, so maybe Flugel was like something to do with the Witch of Envy in the past, and then Subaru has that same thing. I don't know, maybe it's something to do with the real world. There's definitely more than just Subaru is him, right? There is more, although Subaru is him.
And some secrets behind the tower are what we're gonna talk about here, so if you want to know more of the lore and more about this Flugel character, here's everything the anime didn't show us. Episode 70, A White Sky Asterism, covering Chapter 5 from Volume 21 of the light novel and Chapters 1 to 2 from Volume 22. If we pick things up right from when Shaula showed herself, there was a very cool scene involving her and the mob beast that didn't make it into the anime.
Oh?
Just like how the centaur's echolocation wasn't revealed with Subaru's extensive experimentation, so too was its ability to adapt. And I'm not just talking the ability to adapt like the way someone such as Subaru might, I'm talking the insane power akin to that of Maharaga from Jujutsu Kaisen.
What?
Yeah, this random mob beast chilling in its own boss arena, it's probably one of the most fearsome creatures Subaru has ever come across.
Oh, damn,
So,
really?
after Shaula's initial attack had blown away half the centaur's upper body, the centaur fully adapted and evolved to counter it. It went from 2 arms to 4, 4 legs to 8, hardened its entire body with flame-resistant armor, then equipped itself with a sword, lance, hammer, and axe. Though
Bro, this sounds fucking amazing. Why'd they leave this out? God, that sounds so cool. You're telling me that in the source material, this fucking creature gets shot and it goes and just upgrades itself. That sounds epic as hell, man. That's actually a shame. Usually, I don't care when there's like content left out. I'm like, alright, cool, whatever. But that would have been well cool to see.
It didn't fully understand the opponent it was now up against. It seemed to try and prepare itself for anything. Well, Shaula just upped her firepower instead, then unleashed all of it until nothing of the centaur remained.
Okay,
with
so
not even a single speck of dust remaining.
Okay, so pretty much the okay, so it did pretty much go the same way. Come on, they could have added that upgrade scene. It would have taken 5 seconds.
There was nothing left for the centaur to regenerate from.
That would have been pretty cool to see.
This, if anything, just went to show how powerful Shaula was.
I will say though, it's not needed. That is true. It definitely is something that could have been cut. It's not necessarily needed, and it may have taken away from the epicness of the scene.
Now, it's here we enter into what could only be Subaru's subconscious, a place where 2 other unnatural consciousnesses currently resided. This would be the first time Subaru's own consciousness would bear witness to them, but with the way he was now, he didn't have the ability to understand them. He felt he...
Wait, that was Subaru's subconscious, so and he could see these forms. I understand why, you know, a certain crazy dude is there. That doesn't really narrow it down. But Captain buried underground? What the fuck is he doing there? I don't, like, how's he part of his subconscious?
Could if he really wanted to, but for some reason, he decided not to.
Is it because they're both dead?
He found...
Maybe it's because they're both dead. Oh, maybe it's nothing to do with his, witch authority. Oh.
No need to give them any attention. Well, Turns out Subaru could actually just turn them off, just like how we saw him do in the anime. What came after was the scene with who I assume is Satella, her figure here being more distinct and clear than any of Subaru's other encounters with her. Now he could actually see what it was she was wearing, and the only hidden part left was her face.
And let's be real, Satella, she looking good, man. She looking good. She has been doing what needs to be done. She's looking great. She's looking great. Subaru is a strong man.
For Subaru, not seeing it was genuinely frustrating, but there was a certain satisfaction that came with being so close to her. He felt someday he'd be able to touch her hands for real, and it was when that day came that he'd be sure to express his love for her. If there was one emotion he felt more strongly than anything here, it was to reciprocate the love whoever this was giving him now.
Really?
So,
That's not the vibe that came through.
both confusing and revealing, since it's the first time Subaru's actually expressed any emotional comfort with this shadow. It's different from the time he met Satella back in the tomb, but if this is even her to begin with, then perhaps Subaru's subconscious has become a bit more comfortable with her.
Weird.
When it came to him waking up back,
I guess that does make sense. They've been inside, like I was gonna say they've been inside of each other. Which they have. But you know what I mean. I guess if you can hang out with someone only... Have you ever seen a buddy cop movie? Eventually, they like each other. Same kind of situation going on here. I mean, she's liked him forever. But that definitely didn't come through in the anime. I didn't think for 1 second Subaru's like, damn, he likes this girl.
Subaru had a theory that how easily you fell asleep was inversely related with how easily you woke up. So, if you were someone who fell asleep fast, then that meant you were also someone who took a long time to wake up. Well, Subaru was the opposite, and that's because regrets filled his head whenever he tried falling asleep.
Speaking on my own life, I don't see any connection with that. My wife falls asleep instantly and will wake up instantly. My eldest, actually maybe, but not this way though. My wife is like a really quick sleeper. She'll fall asleep within like 10 seconds, and my eldest, he does the same, and they both wake up really easily. They're like quite light sleepers. My youngest is more like me, and we're both deep sleepers. I used to be a light sleeper, but these days I'm fucking gone, man.
His mind would always drift to situations he could have resolved better,
Never
and
thought about that,
as a result, made his sleeps worse and shorter. These recent events in the labyrinth certainly didn't help either, so that would only serve to disrupt his sleep even more in the future.
He said for a while, though.
After Beatrice confirmed by name everyone was present and accounted for, there would be a moment where Shaula confirmed by name everyone was present and accounted for. There would be a moment where Shaula would closely appraise Subaru, then softly mutter the word 3. I couldn't tell you for sure what that meant, but if I had to guess, I would say it was Subaru's true number of witch factors. With Regulus and Betelgeuse both being in the same plane of existence as Satella, that could very well indicate that she's the representative of the Envy witch factor. I could just be completely off, but maybe that's why Subaru was able to open 3 doors as well. Maybe each were locked behind the possession of a single witch factor. Either way, Shaula clearly knows something that Subaru doesn't. Their whole scuffle would then bring us to the end of Volume 21, the novel tying things up with this. The options unchosen disappeared, and the answers selected remained as the test began. It's pretty much a fancy way of saying Subaru's path was now set. So, as the group reconvened and discussed their circumstances, Subaru would express his concern for the 2 party members that were missing, then mail.
This is something that I was just looking there, it just reminded me of, because I said in my reaction that Subaru doesn't want to tell Shaula, whatever her name is. She doesn't want to tell her. He doesn't want to tell her that like he's not, Flugel. You don't want to be like, I ain't Flugel. And I was like, what if he is? Like, what if he is? And if he said I'm not, she'd be like, well, actually, you are. You just don't know you are. Like, what if that would happen? What if that's the way the conversation would go? Or like, man, or is it the witch stuff? I do wonder, is it the Witch of Envy? Is it Satella just chilling there? Is that why? Is it the smell? Maybe Flugel had the same fucking, weird girl down bad for him that Subaru
would
does.
hint at the stress Subaru's separation had caused. Beatrice was on the verge of tears while Amelia was straight up panicking. We don't know what they or any of the others went through, but we can only assume it was much easier than whatever Subaru went through.
It's a good
Now,
point.
Subaru would go on to try and thank Ram for being so gallant, but the more he talked about it, the more frustrated she seemed to get. Well, turns out she was actually just embarrassed, and that's because Subaru was holding her when she woke up. They had actually showed how it was in ReZero break time, so I can imagine how waking up like this would be devastating for Ram. In any case, while they were both unconscious after their bout with
Waking up that would be devastating for Ram. Oh dear. If Rem loves Subaru, I mean who? And then Ram starts falling for him. Ah man, like motherfucker. And then the Shaula girl, whatever her name is. God damn it, Subaru! This guy is ultimate
the
Rizmaster.
centaur, that left Aridina as the only person to negotiate with Shaula. Negotiate isn't really that accurate of a term though, since no matter how Aridina prodded, Shaula wouldn't say anything. It's here with Subaru that she was an open book though, and every now and then she would say something oddly familiar. Not familiar to say Amelia or Julius, but incredibly familiar to Subaru. Like, take for example this moment after she was flicked on the forehead by Subaru. Her response to that was something along the lines of this. Now, I don't think suing was something you could even do in this world, so how—
That hurt or not, but that's abuse. You assaulted me. I'll see you in court. Huh. Implies two things. One, she doesn't actually know if she felt any kind of pain from that. She just reacted like she should. And two, it implies she has a knowledge of a certain other place.
But then did Shaula know that phrase to begin with? She would even use lines like false charges and innocent until proven guilty. Those were more in response to the stories that had propagated about her, mainly her achievements that supposedly passed on for generations. Those definitely weren't done by her though, so unless there was another Shaula her master decided to name somewhere, the stories about her were definitely false. When Aridina tried to clear things up by using her coins, she had actually included one extra. There was the sacred gold coin depicting the dragon, the regular gold coin with the sword saint, the silver coin featuring the sage, then a copper coin with the Gunica castle. Every country worthy of their name always had its legacy etched into their currency.
Oh, okay.
When it came to differentiating Subaru from the sage on the coin, for some reason Shaula couldn't. This I found incredibly peculiar, as according to her, all people looked the same. She could just barely distinguish between a guy and a girl, but if two people both possessed hair, 2 eyes, 2 ears, a mouth and a nose, to her, they might as well be the same person. Size was really the only distinguishing factor she looked out for.
Well, that's well fucking interesting. So, put it this way. Are we here to presume that Shaula, like, is an idiot? Okay? There's only... If she can't fully distinguish between different people, and she sees Subaru and goes, oh, that's my guy. What's up, Professor? You know? Like, Subaru comes back and she just immediately presumes that he's Flugel, right? That means one of two options. Either motherfucker is Flugel, right? Is Flugel in all meaning of the word somehow. He is Flugel. Or two, she's a dumbass. I still feel like there is room for like the witch, the scent of the witch, right? I mean, it's been commented on a lot. So it does make sense as well with the past. I mean, how many times we have characters comment about the way Subaru smells? And now Shaula sees him that way? It does make sense.
So, whether that's due to the fact she's been stuck in this tower for 400 years, or perhaps something relating to her existence that's fundamentally different, Shaula clearly isn't a regular person like the rest of them. Definitely not human, considering the way she referred to Sword Saint Reed as one. Now.
Yeah, Reed wasn't. What did you say? Wasn't technically human. I still blows my mind with her like 3 dots in her eye, just like the Predator.
Definitely not human, considering the way she referred to Sword Saint Reed as one.
Yeah.
Now, it's after the big reveal of the name Flugel that the long journey upward would commence for everyone. The next floor was only a few dozen yards up, but the spiral staircase made it so it was miles. It's for this reason Meili had to be carried, since such a long walk for her was tiring.
Oh, okay.
Shaula had even offered to carry Subaru too, but Subaru's pride as a man wouldn't allow him to accept. No, instead he knew he could just ask Julius. It was
Instead, how dare you carry me? Julius, can you carry me, bro?
during this walk that more discussions would be had on.
I like to think that with this image right here that we're seeing with Julius behind him, that Julius is just carrying him like this, and Subaru's just sitting
this
there.
Flugel character, first with Meili wondering about this great Flugel tree. She had actually expressed
Great
interest
Flugel
in
tree.
wanting to see it, but Subaru had to let her know he was the one who cut it down. Interestingly enough though, it was back then that Subaru remembered someone calling Flugel a sage too, so now he started to wonder what this sage's accomplishments actually were.
He planted a
did
tree.
supposedly seal the witch together with his comrades, but other than that, no one could accurately say what it was he was famous for. So, with a lot of his accomplishments remaining unknown, perhaps this Flugel wasn't deserving of the sage title at all.
So, Flugel supposedly sealed away the witch, planted this damn tree, and the witch is supposed to be sealed where they are right now in this tower, which happens to be protected by Shaula. Shaula seems to have this kind of relationship with Flugel, almost like Flugel put Shaula there as a guard. That's her job. She's guarding this tower. She's just the guard. She's there to make sure no one comes in, no one comes out. That's why Flugel said, don't let anybody come near the tower. She's the guard of the tower. And then Flugel just knocked the fuck out of here. So Flugel sealed away the witch with supposedly his comrades. And inside of Subaru, we're seeing all the sort of witch factors as well pop up. The ones that are now gone. It's almost like Subaru is some kind of like house for all of these factors. Like he's collecting them but doesn't even realize. Like Subaru on the outside and Subaru on the inside, two completely different things, unaware of each other.
Perhaps he was just good at trumpeting his achievements like how Subaru was. The most likely explanation was that Flugel just pinned all his achievements on Shaula, thus her name being remembered instead of his.
Yeah.
It was a theory Shaula pretty much confirmed after mentioning how he didn't like to stand out too much. If that was in fact the case though, then the question on Subaru's mind was, how did his name get passed down in the first place?
Maybe there's some kind of time
according to
travel
a
going
book
on here.
Julius once read, it was all because Flugel carved his name into the tree. More specifically, his exact words were Flugel was here.
Yeah,
This
Flugel
was a
was
choice
here.
Subaru couldn't help but view as idiotic, but at the same time fully acknowledged as something he would do.
It's kind of
So
funny.
it was after that that the name Flugel took on a life of its own. He would become this figure shrouded in mystery no one knew the origin of. It was once the group had finally made it to the door that Julius would reveal the other side of it was where he and the others spawned in. Opening them from his side didn't work though, so to make it through, they had to wait for Shaula to open it. After a bit more walking, the group would finally make it to the spirit room, a place where only a limited number of people could enter at a time. That seemed to be the intention of the spirit who owned it, so it's for that reason everyone aside from Ram and Subaru would enter. Fun fact, the spirit was actually the room itself, an area so
Everyone aside from Ram and Subaru would enter. Is that a cock up from Annie News there? Doesn't he mean only Ram and Subaru entered?
dense with mana that all this foliage could grow despite the miasma. Now, despite
What did I
Ram mentioning that the
mishear?
spirit had no will of its own, occasionally it would make gestures that made it seem like it did. Like the moment Ram moved beside Rem to look over her, the vines of the tree twisted into the shape of a chair for her to sit in. Who knows whether that's actually the spirit reacting, but at the very least those manners were appreciated. Why the spirit didn't make a chair for Subaru though? Well, Ram suggested it had something to do with hierarchies. But anyway, after a little
Hierarchies. Huh? Well, maybe the spirit is above Subaru then?
teasing of Ram's efforts to come all the way downstairs just to see him, he would then regroup with the others to discuss what's next, to come all
That reminds me, for someone who declared that her place is at Ramside, you did travel far to pay us a visit.
the way downstairs just to see him, he would then regroup with the others to discuss what's next. Here he would get more info about the watchtower, mainly some details about its layout. Where Subaru came in from was the 6th floor as Stereope, the entrance was on the 5th floor Seleno, the 4th floor was Shaula's lair Alcyone, the 3rd, the examination hall Taigida, the 2nd, Electra, and the 1st, Maya. How they all entered was by undoing the tower's dimension gate, the name of the trap that caused space to warp around them. Had the gate
You know what's incredibly curious as well, is it seems like Subaru's very special ability and everything was the reason they were able to enter the tower in the first fucking place. Which seems incredibly curious. Also, Subaru could have got into the tower if he just walked like this. Hello! Towards the
not
tower.
been undone, then Shaula told everyone she would have just kept firing at them. This then brought into question quite the interesting topic, since where Shaula made it sound like Subaru wouldn't have died had he been hit by it, Meili knew for sure he would have. So, when she asked Shaula what she would have done had she killed Subaru, Shaula simply laughed in confusion. To her, nothing so minor could ever kill her master. In fact, Shaula wasn't sure whether her master was even capable of dying.
Okay, well then that gives me a few theories. She didn't think that that would kill Subaru, but we know it does kill Subaru. Unless it doesn't. Unless Subaru has never died. Unless there's more to this return to death than we realize. Maybe this return to death isn't Subaru dying. Maybe there's something else there. I mean, that would make sense. Subaru's always alive. Maybe he's never fully dying. Maybe he's just like, maybe some like Final Destination stuff. Maybe instead of this being Subaru dying, these are Subaru's way of seeing the future. Like when you, like there's that bad movie with Nicolas Cage where he can like see the future and he like stands in places and he'll stand there like this and he'll imagine all the like future scenarios and he'll go, okay, we go left. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe to the viewers and to Subaru, it seems like he's dying when really to everyone else, nothing's actually happened. And although it's called the return to death and it like, you know, that wouldn't really make sense with a lot of what we know. Maybe that's just how the ability works. There's one theory I have. The other theory is something's broken in Subaru and this is what that's like. Maybe he's immortal, but like he's not at 100% capacity, so this is what's happening.
That was the one trait that made her master who he was, since if her master did die, they wouldn't be her master to begin with. That Shaula was 100% certain of.
Okay, well
it's
unless
a
Subaru
comment
isn't
that could
Flugel,
very
then.
well be pointing at return by death. Now, despite Shaula having killed him twice anyway, surprisingly Subaru felt no anger towards her. No, if anything, him dying by her hands was more like a traffic accident. So, rather than hate this person who killed him unintentionally, what he really felt was a mix of forgiveness and resignation. Back to the layout of the tower, with the 6 floors being identified as what I mentioned earlier, Subaru would wonder where...
The confusing thing is, if the floor 1, 2, and 3, it should be that way, but it's the opposite way. Floor 1 is at the top. That part keeps throwing me.
Therapy was. I'm sure you probably figured out the floors of the Pleiades Watchtower were named after the Pleiades star cluster, so with Merope being the 7th of the 7 sisters, Subaru was curious as to why it was excluded. This will probably be mentioned later, but as it turns...
How many is here? There's not 7. Okay, there's more. I was wondering if these things were anything to do
out,
with it.
there's actually a quote-unquote zeroth floor.
Okay, maybe there is. I was going to say there's 8 things here. I didn't know if that was relevant, but...
Place created after Flugel had disappeared. You'd think this floor would be above the first, but with the way Shaula neglected to call the 6th floor the lowest, that made Subaru believe it was underground. It was at this point that Shaula refused to share anything else, as according to her, the requirements hadn't been fulfilled yet. Apparently, this was Subaru still in the middle of his journey.
The requirements haven't been fulfilled yet. You came back to meet me in the middle of your journey, and that's enough. So the 0th floor is no good.
So talk about the 0th floor was currently forbidden. The whole thing had led to a strange change in tone from Shaula. Up until now, she was very responsive, yet all of a sudden she was defensive, almost threatening. So whatever Subaru had said which caused this wall to go up, he knew he needed to drop it.
The weird thing is, she said that there was, like, they just acknowledged that the 0th floor wasn't made until after Flugel left, implying that Flugel had nothing to do with it. So it's strange that she would say you're halfway through your journey, you don't know, you're not supposed to know yet, which is weird, because that almost implies that Flugel would know about this floor, unless Flugel gave some orders for it not to be made until afterwards. Maybe it's supposed to be a secret from him. You know, like, hide this, but don't tell me where.
For now, he at least knew for sure Flugel was the same as him. A person from another world just like Al and Hoshin. Subaru then wondered from what time did Flugel come and how did he live, but what came first was the examination. A test the novel seemingly makes an effort to emphasize has 3 key categories.
I actually really want to go back and watch ReZero from the beginning. Like, I think about it a lot.
That would be time, attempts, and challengers, all of which were set to unlimited. That probably means there's more tests the further they go up, so I'm assuming those numbers are likely to change. When it came to this test, the voice declaring the hint wasn't actually a voice at all. It wasn't sound that reached Subaru's ears, but rather a whisper directly into his brain. In fact, to Subaru, it almost sounded like the voice in his head when he read to himself. Now, there were a couple additional interactions during their deliberation, the first of which was a comment from Shaula. While Subaru was teasing the way she was dressed, Shaula would mention that this was an outfit her mother chose for her. Whether that mother is human is a completely different question, but as of now, that's what Shaula is making it seem like. Meili would then mention how she wanted to go home, find
Her mother chose a pair of tiny shorts where her ass is hanging out, a tiny little bikini. Her mother chose that? Her mother is mad.
fed up with the adventure they were on. She was still committed to helping them resolve their problem, but the sooner they got out, the better. It was when Julius commented on Reed after that his reasoning for such a glowing image was due to the way his stories were passed down. You see, his upstanding character wasn't just an assumption on Julius's part, they were a core part of the Estrella family's lineage. So, for any of it to not be true, that would imply the Estrella family's history was twisted.
Interesting.
Well, twisted it was, and the revelation of such would be far too much for Julius. It was safe to say he wouldn't be of much use for a while. Getting back to the test at hand, Subaru was starting to feel like this was a trial. With the way the test started and the way the number of floors implied that there were 3, Subaru couldn't help but get the feeling Echidna was messing with him all over again. This naturally left a sour taste in his mouth since at the end of the day, both he and Amelia considered her this. Amelia tended to put it a little bit nicer, but for Subaru, that was exactly how he felt.
But she's so nice.
Given the similarities between this and the trials at the tomb, it wasn't far-fetched to think the sage and the witches were connected. It was after this that Subaru would come to the conclusion we saw in the anime. The hero destroyed by Shaula was Orion. It was a star-based puzzle requiring a star-based solution. The rest was as we saw, so next.
So curious how much in this tower seems to be perfectly catered from Subaru. From even getting into the tower, the knowledge around the tower, the different rooms, his abilities, and now the knowledge of the star systems. Feels like everything is perfectly catered for Subaru to answer, to find.
This episode will get deeper into the library. If you like this one, then leave a like and comment, and if...
Shout out Annie News, shout out Annie News! Link to Annie News' channel in the damn description! Shout out their awesome damn videos, alright? Go show them all this damn support in the world. I am like... man. So, I have 2 major theories, okay? Either Subaru is Flugel, which I think is like a lot of people's theories these days. Obviously, I don't know how ahead the novel is, the source material and stuff, so don't spoil anything. These are just anime-only guesses. But either Subaru is Flugel. Either that's it, right? Or it's something to do with the witch factors. Or it could be a combination of both. It's interesting because the Flugel it was here is very Subaru, and even Subaru himself says like that's something I would have done, which to me it kind of implies that could be Subaru. Like if that's him saying this, like fucking hell. But then 400 years ago, unless time works differently, and like what about him in the previous world? Like you don't know because you don't know how time works. And then the return to death ability now is interesting. Now I'm looking at that all differently. Because I guess you could say that return to death is when he dies, he comes back. But he's never dead. Right? In a way, like you could say Subaru dies and returns. But you could also say he never dies. Because if it was me, and you were watching me, I'd never die. Like, I look the same. And again, there's like theories around whether or not other worlds and things are created and that sort of stuff. But it could just potentially be his way of being immortal, which is why Shaula, which is why she reacted that way. She was like, killing him? Impossible. He can't be killed. Because he can't be killed. Because if you think about it from her perspective, right? Think about it this way, and everyone else's. In their minds, Subaru can't die because he hasn't died, right? It's impossible for him to die. If he's killed, he will return. And then he knows what to do to get around it. If you look at everything from everyone else's perspective, and this is something that Ram has figured out, which is why she trusts him so much, Subaru will just pick the right path, pick the right moves, go the right direction, know how to defeat bosses instantly. He's just always knowledgeable. From like a boss's standpoint, let's imagine you're in a room, and Subaru walks in, and we don't know anything about him. Subaru walks in and just, you start like, all right, well, I'm going to blast this guy. You start blasting him. He dodges it. Then he counters it. Then he's over there. He teleports above your head and then you're dead. You'd be like, how the fuck did this guy know? That's Subaru. From from anyone else's perspective that isn't Subaru, the guy is just awesome. But from Subaru's perspective, he probably walked into that boss room and got killed 100 times and then found the solution. You see what I mean? So that kind of explains her response there. He can't die. Because, yeah, he can't. In everyone else's eyes, Subaru can't die. Subaru is untouchable. No one can kill him. If all of them in that room tried to kill him, they wouldn't be able to. Because from their perspective, they would fail every single time. He'd know exactly where they're coming. He'd dodge every single move. If you look at it that way, kind of interesting. Anyway, this was actually well interesting. For a cut content video, this was amazing. I feel like it's really like, gosh, it's really giving you a lot to freaking think about, hasn't it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my reaction. Thank you so much for watching, you wonderful people. And don't forget to like and subscribe and go support Annie News. They're the ones who make this video. They deserve all the love. That's it from me, my friends. I guess go check out my full reaction to the latest episode on G.O.T. games. And as always, you will see me in the next video.